Hi, I'm Angie Pontani, the burlesque superstar who has spent the last 20 years shimmying and shaking around the globe. I've performed in showrooms, ballrooms, small rooms, and big rooms, every room except a mushroom. Along the way, I've met some amazing people, and I'd like to introduce them to you. Together, we will pull back the curtain to reveal what really happens behind the glitter, feathers, and tassels. So join me for the bump and grind. I was over the moon to have today's guest on the show, an ultimate showbiz duo, both stars in their own right. Julie Atlas-Muse and Matt Fraser combined have done it all. Feature films, television, stage, screen, even sang I Do in an infamous zombie wedding. Matt is an amazing actor, activist, and stage performer. He was born with thalidomide-induced phocomelia. He uses his art for advocacy, bringing awareness and equality issues center stage and defying preconceived notions and limitations that society often places on those with disabilities. Julie perfectly balances the imagery and conceptions of burlesque with performance art, torching social constructs with her provocative works, which are always served up with that nice girl next door energy that she embodies naturally. Both of these artists are masters of their craft. Their productions are full circle, no detail left untouched by their married vision. I have a tremendous amount of respect for these two, and I was so excited, if not even nervous for this interview, which is crazy because I've known them both for so long. But I had an amazing time chatting with them, and I am thrilled to introduce you to Julie Atlas-Muse and Matt Fraser. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on the Bump and Grind today. It's so nice to see your faces.
So nice to see yours.
Yeah. You look like you're in one of the rooms at the Madonna Inn because it's all rose pink and lovely.
I wish I was in one of the rooms at the Madonna Inn right now. I'm just in my basement dungeon. So how are you guys doing? How's your Corona summer going?
Well, because we haven't had any work, we've had like a great summer, like for summer's sake.
Yeah.
You know, we went to the beach a lot. We did our week with Tigger and Scott and Eileen at Fire Island. That was really great. We went upstate a lot. We are going to upstate tomorrow.
But, all of these visits are, so that masked, distanced, safe. Although the people upstate had got up there around the beginning of March. And so weren't contaminated at all, and they only saw each other. And so there was this weird mask-free house that we were allowed to be in. And man, that was a real joy.
It's a new
But
sensation.
we really got a great summer. I mean, yes, of course it's been affected by COVID, and we're depressed because there's no work and all that psychological shit that's going on for everybody. But in terms of the actual summer...
Like summer... Like, I'm tan.
Yeah, she's really tan.
I'm tan.
I can see it. You're extremely tan. Well, and has this been, because you guys are always all over the place working on different things, is this the longest amount of time that you've spent together?
In one place, in one setting, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we still love each other.
That's the
Even
real
more.
mark of success. You've made the right choice. The zombie wedding was spot on. You guys did the right thing.
Yeah.
That's what Brian and I said. We're like, this is the most time that we've spent together in one place, not traveling, not working on something. It's kind of like a new sensation. And we too still love each other. And I'm glad because I had concerns in the beginning.
Sure. I was always thinking, wow, are we going to run out of things to say to each other? But no, we're still yabbing every day, still talking.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to have, Julie volunteers every Tuesday for Henry Street Settlement food parcels.
Food pantry,
I beg your pardon, and occasionally for the local compost people for the East River community. And it's good to have those few hours away from each other. Because that's just normal living, isn't it? I mean, it's not normal to spend 24 hours a day together, We used to go to work and we used to come home and go, hi, honey, I cooked for you or stuff. And it's nice to have those gaps, I think, in the day. So we have created some of those. But saying that, I'm loving being with you for this amount of time.
Well, you guys are
Thank you,
doing
too.
stuff too, and we'll get to that too. But I want, so, like, you know, when I sit down to do this, I have people who help me. They do the research and we put everything together and we come up with these questions. And I know you guys, so I know you guys. It's interesting to look at both of your careers on paper, kind of like removed from that. You both have done so much, and we're going to roll through it. But I want to go like when I first met you guys. So Matt, I remember I first met you in 2004 at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, the Whoopee Club show that we were doing there.
That's right. I was hosting the Whoopee Club, and I think you guys came and guested, but then we also came and saw your show, the Pontani Sisters show.
Yes.
I don't remember which venue it was, but I remember being an annoying asshole and coming up to you guys afterwards going, we do burlesque too, and we're cool too. And I could tell that I wasn't quite selling it well.
No, you sold it completely. We thought you were very cool. We were like, he's so cool. They're so legit. I don't remember the venue, but I remember it was a basement. It was like very basement. But how did you end up with the Whoopee Club? Because I've heard a lot about the Whoopee Club. I interviewed a Modesty Blaze, and she was kind of telling me the history of the Whoopee Club and what the shows were like there, and how, you know, it wasn't just burlesque and striptease. There were so many different elements going on. Like, could you equate it to like a slipper room kind of experience here?
Well, no, I'd say it more came from performance art, and then incorporated the more extreme and weirder ends of cabaret just as neo-burlesque was hitting Britain. And it was seen as a real slap in the face to the previous wave of feminism and consciousness that women performers were expressing. And so it was really radical at the time. And so the Whoopee Club, the people that ran the Whoopee Club had been strippers in pubs in the olden days where they passed around a pint for the coins, like proper old school stuff, but also been at the forefront of early 90s performance art and flagrant stuff. So it sort of collected as a movement and energy into what became the Whoopee Club. And then I just literally happened to go to one. I think an MC pulled out last minute, and I knew the owner knew that I was doing a lot of emceeing at the time, mostly for like crip disability cabarets and stuff. And she said, oh, come and do one. And I took to it like a duck to water. I felt that I'm home. I really felt that I was home. And it went really well. And I started doing quite a few of them. Although I have to say, Dusty Limits was the great host of the Whoopee Club. And that first group of people, including Fancy Chance and DJ Hitman Hearn and Blanche Dubois and all those other people, were really knockout, amazing. Like, no doubt the acts were at that time in America. You know?
I have CDs from Hitman Hearn that he would send to me that are so good. I have to find them, and I have to find a CD player to play them on now.
Right.
I don't think I have that. But you were doing like crip cabaret type things. Was that a scene also happening in the underground?
It was, but it was very separate. Disability cabarets were pretty much for just disabled rights activists and their friends, and the cabarets were to fire up the troops to get on to the next demonstration. It was politics first and talent second, which is why I emigrated from it, because I realized I was just preaching to the converted, and I wanted to get better at cabaret, and I wasn't going to in that environment where people nurtured each other so much they didn't critique each other properly, something that I think we can all recognize.
But I think you got to also understand in part where Matt comes from. Both of his parents are actors, or his dad was an actor. He's passed, but his mom is still an actress. And he remembers being backstage when Angela Lansbury was Gypsy.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
I know.
I was 13. My dad's boyfriend, Jerry, was in the chorus of Gypsy. They couldn't afford childcare, so I was just taken into the theatre every night and hung out in the theatre. And the treat was I used to be allowed to go into the wings to watch Gotta Get a Gimmick, because that was my favourite song, because I loved Miss Mazeppa. And once I was a strumpet, now I bump it with the trumpet, or, you know. Yeah. And I was just taken up by that. I didn't know why. I just loved it, and I learned it, and it became part of me. So that when Neo Burlesque happened, like 25 years later or whatever, I was like, oh yeah, I know this shit. You know, it was crazy.
That's amazing.
Can you tell that Matt's just had a coffee?
Please talk.
No, it's your turn. It's your turn.
I'm sweating.
No, that's
just had a coffee.
Amazing. I had no idea about that. So then it would be like a coming home. Like, no wonder you connect it with it so much.
Yeah, it felt really familiar. Yeah.
And do you find, like, because you are an actor, you're like a real actor, does it help your skill set? Like, I feel like burlesque is like, the back alleys for the most part. And like, we learn to adapt and roll with any environment. Like, do you find then when you're on a set, you're in a show, you're like, hit me with it, guys. I got this.
Yeah, I totally think that anyone who's been involved in burlesque, sideshow or vaudeville or any mix of those is ready for the unexpected in a way that actors who've learnt their script really are not. Like none of us are going to be bothered by somebody suddenly in the audience going, yeah, that's right, you should kill him, or whatever. It wouldn't throw any of us, would it? But you
No.
see if that happens in a regular play, the actors all freeze for a second. They're so freaked out. So I have very much benefited from that, yeah.
That's amazing. And so what was the sideshow tie-in as well? Like, where did that come in your trajectory?
Well, what happened was I got really into history, and all the disability rights activists were saying the sideshow is the pornography of the disabled. And my surrogate mother was a Marxist feminist who was talking about how Camille Paglia had critiqued Andrea Dawkins' original All Pornography is Women Hatred school of feminism. And I was like, well, why can't I critique my thing? And made a beeline for Dick Z. Zegan at Coney Island Sideshows by the Seashore, because I'd also seen a picture of this guy, Sealer the Seal Boy, little flipper hands like mine. I'm thinking, I think there's a one-man show in this, And so that all those things sort of migrated me towards Coney Island, where, of course, I met
Me.
Yeah.
The love of your life? And speaking of the love of your life, so Julie, we met like 745 years ago.
It's really true. I don't even think we met. I think we just sort of, came out of the mire together. Like,
We did. And I was trying to remember the exact moment, and I can't, because I remember Teaserama. I just remember being,
it was before that. It was at Marion's.
Yeah, Marion's, like just kind of revolving around each other in the scene that was developing in New York City at the time. So, but I learned in my research that you had your first gig with Selena Vixen. Is that correct?
Yes,
At the
I
Red
did.
Vixen Burlesque, and that was your first official.
That was my first gig ever as a burlesque dancer, and Tigger was in it, and we did Teach Me Tiger as a strip improvisation together, and it was really fun. I mean, Selena, I was running Tashama up at the time on 42nd Street, which is an organization that takes over unused real estate and fills it with as much art as possible. And that's when 42nd Street, when all the buildings were getting knocked down. And we had this dance series, and Selena Vixen was doing a proper dance that I was in. I think I was in it. And then she said, come on downtown. And we're doing burlesque. I was like, well, what's burlesque? And she said, oh, it's a short dance that you either beginner and naked. I was like, done. Boom, did check plus, and then I showed up, and then that was it. It just formed from them. That became the Red Vixen Cabaret.
That's amazing. But so, like, you two are a multifaceted performer. Like, you guys both are. And I think that that's, like, number one, it's very adult. It's very mature. It's very professional. But I think it's really smart, too, because it's like you don't just focus on one thing, and you have these other elements that you both are so exceptional at that it probably just, they all feed each other. Have you found that to be true?
Absolutely. I found it to be true, definitely.
Yeah.
And I find more freedom in nightlife and burlesque than I pretty much do in any of the other forms, because you can do whatever you want. Like when you're an actor, you don't decide what you wear necessarily. Not inherently, you don't decide what you wear. You don't decide what you say. You don't decide where you stand. And you get to make all of those decisions for yourself doing burlesque. Be they good decisions or bad decisions. You've made them.
They'll all come back for you as well.
I think each discipline informs the others. But I also readily accept that I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none because of it.
Yeah, me too. I'm a jack of all trades. I can fake anything okay.
Some people, they just do the one thing, don't they? And they get like world-leadingly expert at it and are celebrated for it. I'll cite somebody I respect a lot, Taylor Mack.
Yeah.
He's stuck to their guns completely the whole way, and now is a globally celebrated American artist of immense proportions. And that's some of the things you can get when you do one thing and you're one brand, one thing all the time. That's something I'm never going to have that kind of thing. But that's fine by me. I like the way we did it. I like the way we did it. Cross-platforming and trying different things all the time.
Yeah, it became kind of like tricky when we did Jack and the Beanstalk.
I was going to ask you about
two
that.
summers ago. Because no one would believe that the two of us, known for like, bleeding, puking, having, sexual relations on stage.
Talking vaginas.
Singing vaginas, cock twirling,
So nobody wanted to believe that you guys were going to do a kid show?
Well, if you think about it, like Mr. Pussy, my giant singing vagina, is perfect for a 6-7-year-old.
Yes.
Because it has that, it's not sexualized, it's infantilized, it's, but it's just not appropriate for society for a 6 or 7-year-old.
Especially American society.
Oh, yeah, especially American society. But, it's childish. Like what we make is just childish. It's not always appropriate. It's often not appropriate for children. And we have to, we had to really convince the press to come and see it. We tried to sell it as, can you believe this crazy couple are making a kids show? But they had to come and see it before they would say anything.
Accept it. Yeah. I mean, and I come from the tradition of that form of theatre. It's how every British person is introduced to the theatre when they're a 5 to 7 or 8-year-old. Mm-hmm. It's just what happens to every theatre in every town in Britain. And so I wanted to bring this wonderful anarchic theatrical form to...
We wanted to.
Yeah, we wanted to. And Julie and me studied it hard and thought, how do we get the white wall tiles on the vehicle? And I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, we just... The key to British pantomime in America is to know... the British pantomime in New York is to know what they're trying to hook. And they're trying to hook nostalgia. So a beautiful pictorial countryside, there's no nostalgia in that for New Yorkers. But a street with some garbage and a rat, and that we're like, oh, that's home, So it's our nostalgia.
Yeah, it's about community nostalgia. And in Britain, we do love a swashbuckle and a paved street of London and ye old tavern.
And I don't even know what that is.
But in New York, it's like, no, it's Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys swapped the countrysides for rats and garbage cans. But
needles.
That's really smart.
No, we didn't do needles.
You make it your own, right? And did you find that, so this was the first pantomime that I had ever been to, and it was so fun how the audience interacts so much. How did you prepare the audience for that? Because I'm sure the first crew that came in had no idea what they were supposed to do.
Burlesque. Do you know, we had to teach the audience how to behave in burlesque. Remember in the good old days of burlesque where no one knew what the word meant? The word didn't exist.
Yes.
We had to define it every time we said it.
Yes.
And so I find myself in the exact same situation, but with pantomime. So we just have to educate the public like we educated the public about what burlesque was.
The big thing, I think, and again, it's a common factor, is persuading the theatre that they don't have to be hushed and do theatre behaviour. Quite the opposite. We want them to talk back and shout. And back in the day when neo-burlesque was arriving, certainly in London, I remember all the liberal guys in the audience keeping really quiet and thinking, I don't know how to navigate this. I really don't know what I'm meant to be doing here. And we had to be told to go, yeah, woo, come on, and it really did take a year or two to persuade gentlemen that it was okay to do that. It was part of the experience. But we did, and the panto audiences as well.
The panto audience took to it like a house on fire, and it helped that a lot of the performers were burlesque performers. So that call and response, which is so punk rock about panto and so punk rock about burlesque, and that real live visceral interaction with the audience, that that's where it's all related for me. That's where you ask the question of do these forms feed each other? And they do. And that's one of the most direct ways that it does.
It's a lovely irony that burlesque feeds panto because one's very adult and one's very not adult in a way. But I would argue that burlesque performers who are good at acting are the ideal people to be in panto for the reason Julie just cited. And I must say, since seeing your performance as the mafia boss in that classic Pinch Bottom show,
You're good at acting.
you have to come and be in one of the shows.
I will do it in a
maybe not
heartbeat.
this one, but maybe the next one, because you're so good and you'd be perfect for it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm a total ham and I will totally do it. And when you tell me that, when you guys, because Julie told me I was a good actor the other day too, and I was just like, oh, because I think I'm a really good bad actor. Like I'm a great terrible actor.
No, that's not
No,
fair.
you're authentic.
Yeah.
You're authentic.
You did the house style, but you could do the house style if it was, Tom Hiddleston on the Broadway stage with a Harold Pinter play. Easily.
Yeah, I think you could totally.
None of us would really want that, because who wants to be in a boring or Harold Pinter play? But, you know what I mean?
It depends how much it pays, right?
Well, probably quite a lot. In fact, rewind, let's do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah,
Well,
I will.
I'm in.
As Murray Hill says, don't turn down a job until it's offered to you.
Listen, I'll take any
Nice.
job, especially right now. Dude, I'm
Here, here.
so in for that. So Coney Island brought you guys together. This is where you literally met.
Backstage.
Rear
Backstage on
naked
May 5th.
chokehold. Naked chokehold.
It wasn't naked, but when I was backstage with these three crazy American women, the likes of which I'd never seen before, Julie
Bambi.
Atlas Muse, Bambi the Mermaid, and Bunny Love.
Oh,
Lady Ace was there as well, wasn't she?
Lady Ace was there as well. That was the lineup.
And then I saw Julie's arms. She was swimming a lot back then, doing the first heel tank and all of that.
that's
So
right.
she had the real bulky arms.
First seal tape. No, that's when I was at the Coral Room swimming as a mermaid.
I beg your pardon.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm really into martial arts, have been, all my adult life. And I immediately knew that she would be able to put on a rear naked choke like nobody else. And that I also know that if you empower a woman, this sounds a little bit old-fashioned and sexist now, but at the time it held, that if you empower a woman to kill somebody, which is usually not something she's been taught, there's a transformational feeling that happens that the teacher often can benefit from.
It sounds so
girl,
so perverted.
I'll teach her a trick and then I'll be able to have sex with her.
So, just think about what Matt just said, right? Like, if you teach a woman to kill somebody, Matt is a feral, wild animal. like what, to kill somebody? To kill
Yeah, but
somebody.
the thing is, I've always
it turned me
liked-
on. I was into it. I was like, yeah, that's my guy.
I've always liked warrior women. They've always been my favourite heroes, the Shiros. And I hate the fact that it's only guys that have these muscular fighting techniques. I mean, now it's different.
Yeah.
Completely different. But when we met, it was still very much the domain of men. And that's rubbish.
Yes, I agree. Sure.
Yeah.
and it worked,
So
clearly. Are you ever
was really
worried
good at
she's
it.
going to kill you?
No, but she could now if she wanted to, quite easily.
And
I think
Julie,
about it sometimes.
Julie, you were like, I
think
love
about it
this guy.
sometimes.
Like, I'm in.
Yeah, he smelled like my future. I was like,
Ooh,
he smelled great. I was like, that's it.
I
right there.
like that. He smelled like my future.
And then about a month later, I was back in London, in my previous relationship, in the suburban house that I knew I didn't want to be in anymore. And I got an email. You were in my dream. Something like that. And that was lethal. And then began the email.
The slow hunt. I did a slow hunt. I was like, one of those creeping cats that just move so slowly. You don't even see her until,
And then one day, Bambi the Mermaid said, I want you to leave your wife and come and marry Julie and live in New York.
Fair enough.
And about 5 years later, I said, look, see, it all happened. It all came true.
It did, because then you guys got married, and you got married at Abrams Art Center where you do your shows, which is like your home base, and you had this epic zombie wedding production that was like full scale, amazing.
It was amazing. It was, because we'd both been married before, and I was like, well, the first marriage was from death do us part, so the second marriage has got to be from undead and beyond. And you knew that. I told you that.
I remember that now, yeah.
And my mom's like, please don't have Halloween wedding. But I stuck to my guns, and Matt wasn't really into it. We couldn't decide the guest list. So we just decided to make it an open call wedding. Whoever knew about it and knew us or just wanted to come could come. The venue is 300 seats. If you wanted to be a bridesmaid, just check this email, show up at this time with this outfit. But they showed up and they had to wait for we did rehearsal, and then, I don't know, maybe the drugs kicked in or
I distinctly remember there was a bottle of tequila that was passed around.
Ooh. And then the makeup kicked in too, and they became these zombies, really became them. And it was great. It was really fun.
Very dramatic.
It was very, very, very fun. I didn't expect it to be that great.
Horrified look of our family members that we had sat on stage was also a joy for us.
Yeah.
But, both of our mothers are fairly horrified. I'm sure they kept a lot of the horror to themselves.
My mum had fun.
But they were both satisfied that we were bearing witness in front of our community and friends that we loved each other and were pledging our lives to each other. That's what marriage is, after all. And they recognised that and they appreciated that.
Yeah, my mum had fun. My mum had fun during the wedding. She said that she had fun.
My mum did too.
Yeah, your mum did too.
I saw a picture of Julie, of you with your mom, like Fredini posted it. And she looked so happy. And it looked like it was fun. And when you get all those people together and it's such a loving energy, even if they have zombie makeup pouring down their tequila soaked faces, love is love.
Yeah, right? God, love is love. Love is love. It doesn't matter what the style of the wedding is.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
When you love the two participants, you shed a little tear at how beautiful it is that they're connecting like that,
No, completely. Well, as a couple that is also married and works together, I understand. I remember when we did Ass Freaks together in Coney Island. First of all, I swear that was one of the most fun. I just had so much fun that night. But I remember being backstage with you guys, and you guys were just talking to each other about everything. And it just reminded me so much of me and Brian backstage. Working together as a couple it's wonderful and it's challenging. And you guys work together a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's true. And the challenges are there. Absolutely. I don't know what. I think that I think I've learnt to listen more.
I'm just kidding. You have.
And we've done enough shows for me to be able to trust everything that Julie is and does. I don't need to see anything or no. Let me look over the notes first before you do that, love. I don't need to do any of that. Julie is ultimately professional, strong, powerful, wonderful, and trustworthy in all departments. I hope she feels the same way about me and the stuff that I do.
We both have our fortes.
And we've learned to respect each other's fortes. So technical stuff, all of hers. When it comes to phrasing the words, it's usually me. When it comes to directing them, it's usually her. We're working out our roles nicely.
When it comes to front of house or publicity, it's him. And
when it comes to numbers and the backstage count out, because I'm not even getting involved in that,
Or the contract, it's me, So we definitely do have, and we're lucky that we don't overlap too much in. It's more what you like to do. It was what you become good at, right? So, but it can be very challenging. I think that one of the most important things for me to remember is that having a sense of humor with your partner is a saving grace. So when I get really, really, really irrational and mad and crazy, and Matt just laughs at me, I can then laugh at myself. Or when I do the same thing to him. So calling each other out in a way that we can both appreciate. And we have now some little tropes that we can rely on. We have an asshole bell. So whenever one of us is being an asshole, and you can ring the asshole bell on yourself, it just that vibration, that harmonic, that noise just dissipates the tension.
Yeah, it breaks the really bad tension aspect and allows you sometimes, hopefully most of the time, in fact with us, to see the funnier side of it.
We've got little bells scattered all over. I'll go find one.
Here's the biggest one.
Here's the biggest one.
Oh my God, I need to get an asshole bell for my house.
Every household needs an asshole
Well, because
bell.
you know when you're going down that road, like you can feel it and you're like, why are we going here? But you can't stop yourself from going there because they said another word, so I have to say another word. And it's like, and then it's all a big waste of time and energy.
And then you just ring the asshole bell. You can like ring the asshole bell above somebody or above yourself, or just ring it out. And it just is like, and it's, I found we have not used the asshole bell in quite some time.
We haven't.
We've been pretty good to each other.
We have.
Yeah.
Maybe the asshole bell has helped like get you there. I think you guys should start selling asshole bells.
Oh yeah, for sure. Maybe that'll be our merch when things open up. And also we have sexy Sundays. We have like a lot of like different little things to make sure that we maintain our relationship so that so it doesn't kill our work.
So we call in Sexy Sunday when it's been one of those weeks where you look up and it's Friday and there hasn't been one sexy thing that's happened to you the whole week, because that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you're busy, you're stressed. So we call Sexy Sunday. Like if we haven't had sex all week, we have to have sex on Sunday, even if it's mechanical, pre-planned, and non-erotic.
And I prefer before 4.
It always turns into erotic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Once you get started. And it's fine to do that. I mean, sometimes you have to call in Sexy Sunday. And if we fail that, then it's Make Up Monday. And I'm not allowed to say the next one.
Well,
what's Tuesday?
then if we don't have Makeup Monday, it's Rate Me Tuesday. So it's just the way that we operate.
Listen, it's your operation system, and that is totally fine. I am going to implement some of these
consensual.
things. Listen, life gets boring and redundant, and especially when you're together all the time. And I think it's really smart, you know. Brian and I have tried these kinds of things, but we always are just like, I'm always like, I'm tired. Leave me alone. I can be such a freaking flop sometimes.
Sometimes my brain and mouth annoy Julie. She wants to have sex with Matt, but Matt's brain and mouth won't let that happen. So sometimes she just puts a pillow over my face and then carries on. And you know what? I quite enjoy it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love you guys. You guys are hilarious. You both really think about things. And I feel like that I see that in both of your art, that like you think about things so thoroughly. Like Julie, when we just did Burlesque Galaxy together, and you know it's this new space show, and Julie's gonna come in and she's singing the song and doing this number, and like you just like no matter what project it is that you're doing, it's like you think about every element of it, which you should. But sometimes I get tired and I don't do that because I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to show up and do it. I can do it. But you're like, I'm going to sing it like this, and Matt's going to help me find my voice. And when I come in, I'm going to have this bubble wrap. And like, I mean, you just really get into it.
No, it's experience.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also having a little bit of experience. It's being a jack of all trades. It's having a little bit of experience at everything. You know, like being an actor. I mean, being a director has made me be a better actor.
Yeah.
Being a producer, you know, makes you a better burlesque performer, because everything that I hate that, you know, people do when I'm a producer, I don't do when I'm just a performer. So it's like having all of that experience, you know, and then when you're just a performer, you think that the producers, you know, just standing by the door taking the cash, and that's just not what it is.
No. I remember having a debate with Julie backstage at the Slipper Room when I'd had a really hard night. There were a really hard crowd. It was like getting blood from a stone. I'm the kind of MC that really bigs up the act, and I want people to go crazy for them. And if that's not happening, I feel like a failure. And I was working really hard, and I was borderline failure. And I came back and said, you know, MC should get like fucking twice the money an act gets. We have to work so hard. And Julie was like, no, it should be exactly the same. It's exactly the same amount of work. Blah, 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 blah. Now, how do you feel?
Oh my God. And now as a host, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm carrying the fucking show. I'm doing so much work. I can't drink. I can't get high. I'm responsible for these 2 hours going successfully and smoothly. I should get paid so much more money as the host. The host works so much harder. You only bring 2 outfits anyway. I brought 3 outfits. I've done 2 numbers, you know, so I just,
a good host.
Yeah.
I hasten to add, yes.
So, you know, doing a little bit of everything has really helped. Like, we're shooting a movie we've shot a movie, a 3-day horror film. We shot it in 3 days with a crew of a very, very skeleton crew. You can't even call like 2.5 people a crew.
No.
But now we shot it. Matt wrote it. Now I'm editing it. Now seeing the editing process, like,
oh my God, it's so hard.
Holy cow.
And I'm so impressed with Julie. You know, we bought this iPad that we're talking to you through with our stimulus package because we looked at each other as creative artists and I said, I'm going to go mad. It's going to be 2 years. I predicted it was going to be 2 years. It may or may not be. But we've got to find something to do. And we looked at each other and realized we have to keep creating, and therefore it's got to be on screens. We've got to start making little small movies and little things on screen. And so we decided to do a horror film, and now Julie is this incredible editor. I'm so proud of her.
I'm not good.
No,
I'm getting
hard.
better.
No, it's a hard thing to do, and you see people trying to catch on and trying to learn how to do it, and it is not easy, but it is necessary to create something right now that I think can get your voice across.
Yeah, learning is not. I mean, like, learning is fun, and learning's like, I used to, like, when I'm not learning, I'm like, learning's easy, learning's great, learning makes you feel good. Actually, learning is really hard, and it's better just, it's like, it's more fun just knowing everything, but I realize the older that I get, that I know much less than I thought I did.
The older you get, the more you realize how little you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's definitely true. And I feel like with this technology and the online shows, it's like you don't get that reward of the audience applause that I know, like, I like feed off of that. Like, that keeps me sane. So not getting that applause is really a challenge.
You know, when a long time ago, Julie was having a bit of a crybaby day. You know, when you're crying a lot, sometimes you need a reason to legitimize your tears in others. And she once went to me, I haven't had any applause in 6 weeks, as the reason that she was crying, which I thought was perfectly fair enough. However, when
was it 6 weeks that I didn't have applause?
I don't know. Change that to 2 weeks if you'd like. In 2 weeks, edit it in. Anyway, so when we were all clapping for healthcare workers at 7 p.m., right? Remember when that was a thing that we were all doing?
Yes.
We happened to be walking outside at 7 p.m. one day, and suddenly all this applause started. And we were like, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And it felt so good. We were like, wow. We imagined that, like, performers would sneak out at 5 to 7 just so that they could feel applause again.
And
then
just
go back inside at 5 past 7.
Oh my God, I wish I had done that. That's a very good idea. All right, so you guys, was your first project together Seal Boy and the Blondes?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Our first project together was Beauty and the Beast, in Sensational Bodies. Yes.
That was before. That was December 2008.
That was December 2008.
At Extraordinary Bodies Weird Disability Festival in Zagreb, Croatia. But as I remember it, 2009 was the first Seal Boy and the Blondes. Julie produced it. I was a new guy in town, benefiting very much from, as Dirty Martini put it, well, you married into royalty.
Oh, I like that.
I mean, and it's true. I got to MC at the Slipper Room. What guy who arrives in New York with no back catalogue in America gets to do that? But I got to do it.
A guy with experience in the freak shows.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. But I mean, and I found my star was very much welcomed immediately and everything. But the point is, you got me that gig.
But your talent matched the opportunity.
I'd like to think so. And James Habacker, who running the Slipper Room, also was very kind in giving me the slot as well. You know, I mean, I got my first break at the Slipper Room and Coney Island Sideshow.
Yeah.
It was Seal Boy and the Blondes. That was our first. I mean, it wasn't really a collaboration. I was the front man. Julie, it was Julie's show.
You produced it.
It was a burlesque show. Yeah, I produced it.
And you also decided on the group number.
We made 2 group numbers. We had a naked pie fight. I knew that Matt was going to be in town during those times, so I booked him for Seal Boy and the Blondes. And it was just kind of an excuse for all of us to sort of like get naked and like writhe on each other.
Did you do that in Coney Island or was that at the Slipper Room?
Was it the Slipper Room and in Coney Island? We did one in Coney Island. And we did one on Fire Island.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a bit legendary, that one.
I think it was a Wednesday night.
At the Ice Palace. And all I can say is that Go-Goat Boy was a little the other side of sobriety. And as he was talking to the host, was unaware that he was pouring the contents of an entire bottle of wine onto the floor.
Not wine, it was bubbles. He was blowing bubbles. And while he, like soap, like
Yeah.
a soap bubble liquid blowing bubbles. And he was so drunk that he was sort of staggering around the floor where drag queens were performing and just spilled bubble liquid all on the stage.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, people talked about that for years afterwards at Fire Island.
Well, Michael, the leather guy, still thinks of you fondly from that performance.
Yeah, Julie made me walk around with nothing on from the waist down. She said, you have to make your mark.
I did not make
Like,
you
these,
do that.
These aren't enough. But, no.
Well, it's very markable. It makes a lasting impression, Matt. I'm not going to lie. You've been the talk of dressing room lore for years.
Oh, God.
All in a good way.
You know, sometimes... But here's another thing. As a slightly older, heterosexual, self-identifying cis man, in the current climate that we all find ourselves in, where we're all checking in our behaviour, blah, 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 especially my lot, the aforementioned group, I worry. Like back in those days, I used to have a weird rule that I needed to have to spank everybody that was in the show that I was hosting because it was fun.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, okay. I spanked Tigger, I spanked Julie, it was fun. Now, of course, I wouldn't dream of suggesting that. You would never do. But sometimes I think back, was I out of order? Was my behaviour lacking back then?
Everyone's behavior was out of order back then. That's what made it so unpredictable and wild and crazy, because nobody knew what was going to happen next.
No, and everybody was running
Not
around the
the
dressing
audience.
rooms naked, just being completely wild. And it's the 90s and the early 2000s. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't do that these days.
No. Now, well, I figured, when all that shit got highlighted, I was like, you know what we don't need me to do as a white straight guy? Host burlesque. I'm done.
Have
Yeah,
you
but you
I know I'm
retired?
flawed. I know I'm the flawed male because I'm disabled.
You're not a flawed male because you're
I know, I'm
disabled.
talking
You're
about archetypes, but
unconventional.
yeah, but what I mean is, I just wanted to remove myself. I remember there was a conversation that was had about, I'm not going to name any names. I remember there was a conversation that was had around a table of a whole group of male MCs, and the subject of women MCs came up, and somebody said, yes, but we'll have less work if that happens. And I thought, yeah, exactly. We should have less work. How is there going to be a space for these people to come in so I removed myself. And I mean, if somebody asks me, I'll probably come and do it, especially if it's a benefit or something meaningful, but it would have to be those conditions.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it anymore. I think it's time for juicy hardcore and other people. Having said that, I'm Sir Richard Castle's biggest fan.
Yeah. Sir Richard Castle is amazing. But yeah, you
He's a
can't.
genius.
Don't retire yet, Matt.
No, I never retire. And I'm hoping one day that we can redo American Trilogy, our act that appears in Michael Cohen's book.
Yes. Oh my God, your American Trilogy is amazing. Are you guys not doing that? Well, I mean, I know right now you're probably not doing it in your living room, but you still perform that, right?
Oh yeah, of course. We'll perform that until we're both dead.
I want to do that when I'm 70.
Me too.
It's a goal of mine.
Oh no, I think
Me
that's going to
too.
be amazing. We'll just keep.
Yeah, it's gonna just get better.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, so this is one of my favorite memories, Julie, when we did Theater Bazaar together, and it was like 2012. I don't even remember the year, but it was when, Matt, you were doing American Horror Story Freak Show, and Julie, we went to do Theater Bazaar, and we were staying at your mom's house, which to me, like, that is literally one of my favorite experiences traveling ever, because first of all, your mother was absolutely amazing, and she treated us. I felt like I was like having a sleepover at my friend's house. Like, she was making breakfast for us every morning. I learned cooking things from her. It was so lovely, and I felt like I got
She
an
loved you
insight
too.
into your life. She was amazing. We shopped in her basement. It was so much fun. But you and Matt was off doing American Horror Story, and we're doing Theater Bazaar. And I remember, because my husband at the time was on tour with Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga, and Julie, we were just talking. And Julie said to me, she said, sometimes you're the lead singer, and sometimes you play the tambourine. and talking about, like, because Theater Bazaar is amazing, and I'm not diminishing it in any way, but it's not a television show on national TV, and it's not touring with Lady Gaga. And I think about that all the time because I think that is, like, it really just summarizes some of the challenges that I feel as a human being you have when your partner is in the same business as you, and it's show business, and it's just like this scale that's always tipping in one direction or another, and it makes it funny.
Yeah.
Which is laughing at things, I think, is part of everything. But, like, how do you guys, like, navigate those moments of lead guitar and tambourine?
It's so funny because it just happened to me today. Because Matt was like, yes! So he was looking at his emails. He's like, I just got an audition! I've got an audition! And, like, I was like, great, baby, on the outside. And on the inside, I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I felt it. I felt it. I immediately regretted doing the audition thing because I knew, yeah. But to cut a long story short, what happened was, then they looked at the fine print. Not my agent, but the people who offered the job. It was a TV job.
She's talking about the audition.
And then they realised, oh no, it's for a wheelchair user. And then the audition got taken away from me, which is fine. I don't mind. That's life. Hey, I look at it.
I didn't cheer at that point. I was like, damn it.
I look at it long term, and we remember the film A Star Is Born. I'm sorry, everybody else, but the James Mason, Judy Garland version is the only one I'm prepared to talk about. And that happens. It ebbs and it flows. You know, one day, Brian, we'll be watching you act on a TV thing, and you know, one day I'll be watching Julie be terribly glamorous in a film or something. Do you know what I mean? These things, they ebb and they flow, and you've got to be happy for your partners as successes, whilst also harbouring that intense hatred, jealousy that is only natural in any performer.
Well, it's so true.
You just got to make sure that what you're doing is that you like what you're doing enough to be cool, and then to take breaks. Because, like, we live half the time in New York, where I have real strong roots, right? Like, we have a studio at Abrams Art Center. I know how to operate in New York, and Matt does too. But then when we spend time in London, Matt's roots are deeper and stronger there, and I have not invested as much time in London as Matt has invested in New York. So I got to figure it out. And
yeah, we're going over for a few months this time, and I think it would be really good to see you get a job that we don't expect you to get, you know, like a choreographic gig, or, do you know what I mean?
He's always trying to push me into something or other.
Well, do what you want, or we make a film.
He wants you to play lead guitar.
Yeah. No, but that is the thing. We do push each other, and that is good. Like, I remember Matt's becoming more and more of a writer. And a couple of years ago, Matt was working on Freak Blood. He's like, I've got another idea for this, and I've got another idea for that. And I said to him, I did not marry a man with 5 unfinished screenplays. Finish the fucking screenplay and then start another one, or disengage with it. You know, like, whatever. You've got to, like, and I...
Yeah, and I did. I realised she was right. And the joy, as any writer listening will know, of the rare opportunity of being able to write the words "the end" on something, makes you feel so accomplished. And then you feel, yeah, I am a writer. I'm a writer because I wrote the end on something. I finished the thing that I wrote. You know, you can't really call yourself a writer until you've done that, I don't think.
And Matt wouldn't, like, I'm sorry to say, but, like, and conversely, like, Matt would not accept how poorly I sang a couple of years ago. So he pushed me to get, and I'm a much better singer solely because of you. Because
I could hear inside there was a great voice trying to come out that just hadn't been taught how to.
But you pushed me, and I appreciate that. So,
but I think that's really important. That's so important, you know, when a performing couple can do that, because you know each other so well, and you know the skills that are there. You know what you can do on stage. You're, like, really in a unique position to be able to say, I think you should do this. And when you can accept that advice, it's a good thing. Do you guys find, like, have you ever, like, so say you're working together, you're backstage, get in a big fight, and then you got to go on stage and do this scene. Has that happened to you guys?
Yes.
I think so, probably.
Not. I think so. Probably it was in Scotland.
She's gonna tell
Remember?
you exactly when it
During
was.
the Freak and the Showgirl.
Oh my God, we were doing Glasgow. That's right.
The Freak and the
Archers.
Showgirl.
We
We're doing the Freak and the Showgirl, our two-hander cabaret show, which, as you can imagine, involves us coming out together and going, "Hi, we're this. You're going to get this." Then one of us has to run off and costume change while the other person
Yes,
takes care of
course,
the first act.
course.
I came backstage and it was one of those ones where she was a little late getting on and I was a bit early coming off. And she looked at me and went, "They hate me."
Oh, no.
Backstage like that. And they did it. They loved the review. Was one of the best reviews we got. And the woman, because of course she didn't know, but she was climbing all over the reviewer's table, doing her Little Red Riding Hood one, the terrifying wolf and girl thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and this woman was suitably terrified. But of course, she was the reviewer and she had the best night she'd had all year. You know.
It was just.
See?
So what was the fight about? Because you were early and you were late?
It was just. It was more just another crybaby moment another Julie crybaby moment where nothing. Well, you remember what the fight was about? Or
No, I just remember when you were directing me when we were doing our single, The Spasms, Radioactive Japanese Jellyfish. Ooh. And I was like, I'm the lead. I'm the fucking lead. And this is my close-up. And you were bullshitting around with some directing that I wasn't getting into. And I almost threw a, like, "Listen here, I am the lead of this." You know, I almost did that number, but thank God I did.
Sometimes you just have just enough composure to pull it back. So the Spasms, that's your band, Matt, right?
Well, yeah, they were a band. But now Ken Ball is a fully qualified, awesome lawyer. Velvet Crayon, the guitarist, lives with Sharpie Velour, his lovely wife, in a house between New Jersey and Philly.
Oh, wow.
And is solo composing a lot. And I'm here doing lots of acting. And you know, it came and it went. It was one of those things that was super fun. If we all lived in the same town, had regular jobs, and could always rehearse on a Sunday night, we'd be playing every month. But that's not happening, and we all moved on to do other things. But we had a really good fun.
And you really played the drums in the American Horror Story finale scene? Like, was that the final episode? I don't remember, but I remember you were playing the drums in that.
Well, that was one of those things where they had a drum kit. We were always getting schlepped onto the stage to mime to another song, and I'm like, you guys do know that I'm a drummer, right? And they're like, "Are you? Oh, quick, get the drum kit." And then they would throw me all the songs and just say, "Learn it, mime it, and we'll use what we can." And I did, and they used a little bit of it from time to time, which got me extra screen time. You know, I mean, all these, when you've got a tiny little part like I had initially in Open Horror Street, these little things really count. And I'll tell you who taught me all of that? Julie. Right? If you don't have a part, but you're in a scene with the lead actor, and no one's told you where to stand, your decision should be stand next to the lead, because then you'll be in the shot. You know, these are really important. They sound trite now, but nobody knows about that when they see it on the screen. They just know that you were there, right?
And you were.
Yeah.
You didn't have
Murray
a
Hill
small
taught me
part.
that.
You were there. I felt that you were a big part of that show. You were in so many scenes.
No, it definitely grew. It definitely grew. I did one scene, then they realized I could act, and so they wrote me in a little bit more. But I didn't know what was happening episode to episode. I would get the episode and start reading from the back page so that if I saw my character name, I knew I'd survived through another episode. Because it was a horror series, right? And people were dying
left
all the time.
and right, yeah.
I made it to the last episode. I was thrilled. From episode 4 to 13, I didn't know from month to month if I would survive. None of us did.
That's crazy.
That's how they that's how they roll, and it keeps you excited, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing that you guys don't even know that. But did you, that had to change your life. I mean, you've performed, you've done a million shows, you travel all over, you perform in beautiful theaters, nightclubs. But when you're on TV, on a show that's popular like that, it's like one show could potentially reach more people than you have in your whole collective theater career, which is frustrating and exciting at one time. But how was the experience for you?
Well, it was awesome, really amazing. My Twitter following went up from 1,000 to 22,000. And I did horror conventions and, I got a bit of a role on it. I got some diversity thing award. I went to an event. It was in LA. I met Peter Farrelly. He was like, come and audition for this thing. You know, you get things fire off each other when you get an opportunity like that. And I am a steaming opportunist, like we all are, because we have to be, right? This is the last 15 years of like breeding me into this being that will not waste any opportunity. If I see a slit in the door, I'm going to wedge my toe in, you know? And that's what I did to the best of my ability after American Horror Story. I made some lovely friends and everything. And I was really happy to be a part of sideshow culture coming to the main screen like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's been exponentially enhanced my career. Yeah.
On a personal note, it also for a while, and still sometimes now, Matt had a particular demographic of fan that was like a young teenage girls. They would just spot Matt, run to him, and then want selfies with him, regardless of what situation that he was doing. Like,
it's profound. Now
it's profound.
Let's quickly establish this is not sexual. It's that I was the misunderstood one. And these girls are all the misunderstood one in their town.
Yeah, but you are a very handsome man, Matt, too. You are very sexy.
Well, it's awfully nice of you to say.
So I don't think that I think that those girls, if you were in Teen Beat, they would put your poster on the wall.
Well, it's awfully nice of you to say. It's just that what I found was, prior to that experience, able people that had the most physical embarrassment problem with me when they met me were the same demographic. Yeah. Teenage girls between 12 and 16. Because everything's meant to be perfect in their world. They're bombarded with these images, aren't they? And anything that's as weird as I am comes along. It just makes them embarrassed. And then, oh my God, what if I have to shake his hand or something? And what if it goes wrong and it's embarrassing and they get embarrassed because I might be embarrassed? And all of that melted away, and now they want to hug me.
No, they don't want to hug you. They want to photograph with you.
Yeah. And here's my conclusion to all of that, and I don't want to get too political, but it proves that disability and celebrity are a social construct that actually don't exist for real.
Yeah.
They're created by the behavior of people.
Do you feel, so that show, and you particularly, and your other castmates had a role in helping to deliver this message of kind of demolishing that social construct and kind of bringing a larger awareness to people with disabilities and people with disabilities on shows, in roles, out there, doing it, like bringing it.
Yeah, I do. Only for that audience. Yeah. Because there was a very tight demographic that watched American Horror Story. But absolutely. Yeah. And I'm thrilled. And, Ryan Murphy is very famously a gay man who was a journalist. He likes things clean. He likes things neat. You look at his shots. You can spot a Ryan Murphy production because of the way they look. No,
absolutely.
Right? And I'm not really like that. And we got on fine, but we're not each other's people, But Ryan Haddad, my young gay friend who's a spazzer, he's got cerebral palsy. He's been in the 2 seasons of The Politician. Ryan Murphy adores him. They wrote them a bigger part for season 2. And I like to think in some way that having worked with me and other disabled actors in American Horror Story Freak Show paved the way for him to want to give Ryan and other actors in the future bigger roles. So I hope these things do knock on, Angie. They do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're part of that. And your art and your activism are like really hand in hand. And I listened to you on the BBC about the inaccessibility of spaces and places for people with disabilities. Like you are.
You heard that?
Yes, I heard. Yes, I do my research. I full stalk.
You certainly do.
I full stalk. But I mean, it is getting. Do you feel that it's getting better? Do you feel that things are changing?
Yeah, it's always going to be frustratingly slow, and I'm going to end my days still as frustrated. But I do acknowledge that things are changing. And here's the way I really notice it. Younger disabled people who are in show business, acting, burlesque, whatever, they expect to be included. When I was coming into it, I was begging to be included. And that's a real difference. Because if you expect it, you kind of get it. Because other people are like, oh, yeah, sure. It's not an issue. And so that really has changed. And I think things are way better for that.
Part of the reason why when Matt was in American Horror Story, and I know I'm going back topic wise. When American Horror Story came out for 3 years afterwards, we couldn't have a meal in which Matt was not bombarded by people wanting his photograph. So we did what we do. It took me a long time to tap into my rage and discover why I was such a bitch to these people who are just excited to see an actor. And I don't want to be, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
Inside or outside. So we figured out a system. So when someone goes to,
excuse me, were you in American Horror Story? Yeah, that was me.
And then he has to come, and while they're looking, he has to kiss me. Just that.
They're like, can I get a photo? I'm like, yeah, sure. Come on, I'm just going to do a photo, okay?
Sure.
And that way they know I belong to her. That's that.
And I don't have to establish I just am there. I have my position. They realize that they have interrupted something without having to make any kind of fuss. So it was sort of like I watched a lot of Cesar Millan, Dog Whisperer, and it just seemed like a dog whisperer thing to do to establish pack hierarchy, in terms of, and that really immediately helped me with my envy baby emotions of Matt's more famous than me. I'm an artist too.
But this is,
Yes.
give us 10 years. This is going to be the other way around in 10 years' time.
Yeah,
it totally is.
It's cool either way, but it was just having to come to terms with the fact of I couldn't deny that the envy was happening. I couldn't deny that because it would just get worse. But if I looked at it and then I created a system that I thought was fun, and it took him a good a year to understand the order.
Yeah.
First he thought that he would take the picture, and then when they were leaving, kiss me.
No.
I don't need to be kissed by him.
No, I get it.
I need them to see him kiss me.
Yeah.
Before I do them the favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Because
get
she's
it.
more important than they are.
When they're looking,
Yeah.
you get it. You get
I
it.
get
You
it
totally
completely.
understand.
I'm stealing it actually, because when we're in Vegas, we can't walk through the casino without somebody coming up to us and being like, "Oh my God, Brian!" And then they throw the camera at me and they're like, "Take a picture of us." And of course I'm thrilled. I know it feels good to be recognized, but I'm also just like, okay, and I'm just like, I'll take
I'm
a
not
picture.
fucking touching
but
your
I'm just
phone.
like, I'm Angie Pontani. Take a picture of me.
Yeah.
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 Oh, but now I'm totally.
Look, we're all the same. It's fine. Okay, we all have the inner rage and the jealousy and the love and the generosity all at the same time.
But there are systems that you can put into place that don't amplify that, because having that feeling can get you into a spiral of envy that is not productive. And we want to be productive.
Yes.
We want to be competitive in the positive way that pushes us forward, as opposed to make me spiral, be like, but I am Julie.
And you want to be supportive,
but
because it feels terrible, that moment where I'm just like, smile, I feel like an asshole, but I'm just like, okay, let's go.
right, but if he kisses me before, then I don't mind so much taking the picture.
Yeah.
I don't mind so much taking the picture.
No.
I still don't like it.
No,
but
but
it's okay.
No, and it's good. We need the successes. With everything that elevates one of us elevates the other as well. But Julie, I like you.
If we're lucky.
Yeah, totally. I like how you find a way to make things positive, because this is my takeaway from spending so much time with you backstage for 747 years. It's like, you really you don't complain. You always find the funny thing or the sustainable thing, or I remember we were in a dressing room that was a gym in a hotel at 3:00 in the morning, and we were all miserable, and you start jogging on the treadmill in your stripper heels, or when we were on Gossip Girl for 450 hours shooting on Gossip Girl, and you're like, let's have a crunch contest where we're doing crunches, and you always find the silver line. Look, backstage is fun, and I would love to be there right now, but it can be exhausting. You always find the positive. You're never, there can always be a bloodsucker backstage. You're never a bloodsucker. You're always positive. How do you find the eternal energy to be that person? Because I think it's a good role model. I think you guys are both good role models, but you're a good role model, Julie.
You are.
Oh,
You
thank
are.
you. I don't feel that way on the inside. You know, a lot of times especially when I have a big job to do, I try and get all my negativity out and then I go on stage. But I know that the show is important and I love it so much. And I love saying hi to people and I love having a good environment backstage. And it's just something that that you figure out and you learn how to cultivate. I made some big old mistakes and all that stuff, but I'm not afraid to say that I've made a mistake and I'm not afraid to apologize. That's a very English thing to do, is to apologize. But, yeah, it's just, I think a little bit of it also is being, before I was performing for a living, I was a technician or the box office girl, or I was always around the theater in any capacity. So being on, I think it is being on, like having worn so many hats in the theater, I have a lot of respect for what everybody has got to do. And I have a little bit of knowledge. So if you can make everyone's day a little bit brighter, then everything shines a little bit more. But don't tell anybody that I'm nice like that.
Listen, you're intimidating. You're absolutely intimidating. You're an intimidating force, 100%. But you're just, you're positive. You don't you always keep it on the sunny side backstage, which I think is a really amazing thing.
But the intimidating thing, I want to go back to the first time we met, because it wasn't just a rear naked choke. Because everybody else that night was doing, I'm a sexy girl, look at me, look at my boobs, aren't I sexy? And they were fucking great at it. And they're masters, world masters, as indeed are you. And then I saw Julie doing the hand. And what I saw was a horror film on the stage with a woman that seemed to have no regard for how attractive she was perceived by other people. Like, that just wasn't important. She was telling a horror story. And I remember thinking, ooh, you're really different. And I was so intrigued by that. The monstrous, scary Julie that a lot of people do know as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think about one time when Selene Vixen, Dirty Martini, and I were doing a Suzanne Barsh party. We were doing numbers in a Suzanne Barsh party in Miami. And it was kind of raining. I had to blow up that giant balloon.
Yes.
Got, in a party at Art Basel, and Dirty was doing her number, and Dirty was helping me, and she was collecting my clothes, and I was helping Dirty. I would run and tell the DJ to hit the music, and then I'd collect her clothes, and then we both helped Selene. And Selene was like, wow, you guys are working, you guys are helping me and all that. We're like, well, of course we're helping you. There's no stagehand. We're not going to leave you alone. You're not going to leave us alone. I think that because inherently burlesque is like, we don't need a stage. Like Marion, you guys didn't have a stage. We don't even need real lights. We'll just hold a flashlight for each other as a spotlight, because we're so rough and ready and knowing, but still with the very high standard for what theater should be, even in these really unconventional settings. That makes us all work together as a team. Especially in the early days of burlesque, we really worked together as a pickup game of soccer, where like, okay, I'll do the curtain, you do the lights, like nobody was idle. No one was waiting for anybody to pamper them. It doesn't exist in New York City.
No, I absolutely. From the beginning. I remember one of the burlesque festivals, the Pontani sisters do this number with these waves, and we needed people to do the waves, and you and Tigger were like, we'll be your wave operators. And we did Coming to America, and we had these silk scarves, and you guys totally just jumped in, and
I remember that.
Yeah, it's just
but you are a tremendous producer. You're an amazing producer, Angie. I remember seeing several times you producing a show at the Burlesque Hall of Fame in Las Vegas. And I just remember thinking to myself, my God, it's running so smoothly. Who is running the show? Where is the producer? And it was you talking very quietly to the technical staff. And since then, you have such an invisible hand, but what you create, and you create these big, massive projects, and you do it with such a deft, almost like you've made yourself seem obsolete, but you're like the lube.
Oh,
it
I
can't
like that.
happen without you.
I like that.
You're an incredible performer, talent, actor, but as a producer,
thank you.
It's nice.
Thank you. I like
lot of work.
organization. I like organization.
I'm really excited about Burlesque Galaxy as well.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be pretty amazing. I'm very excited about it too. I mean, I think it could be a really viable platform for a lot of performers, a place for people to stream a lot of content, and just a good resource. And I mean, like, I have visions for a kind of like historical section where we can really get all the information from the legends and old content, and just kind of just like all in one beautiful place, you know?
Do you remember the letter that Dixie wrote the first year that we all went to Exotic World? I mean, when Exotic World went to Vegas, when it was still called Exotic World, how not to get caught hooking in Vegas?
Yes! Oh my God. Oh my God, I haven't thought about that in years. Oh, yeah.
And then no one wanted to give it to everyone. I think it was Laura, like, Julie, we can't share this with everyone. I'm like, you have to share this with everybody.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. Oh my God, I gotta try to find that. That's gonna be priceless. God, how things have changed. So Julie, you won Exotic World 2006. So like
the first year when it was at the Celebrity.
Oh yeah, the Celebrity Theater. That's right. Did you win with the balloon act? Yes.
It was the first time I ever performed it too.
Wow, that's ballsy. Gee.
I mean, balloons are really expensive, and I didn't have a lot of cash at that time, so I only had 2 balloons, and my first balloon popped at the beginning of my tap.
Oh my God, that's very stressful.
Ooh, I didn't realize you were working with one risky balloon.
One risky balloon
That
that I
is high
held over
pressure.
my head for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well,
God.
what, like, the Exotic World experience has certainly changed a lot over the years, from the desert, from getting the don't get caught hooking letter. What do you think about the kind of evolution of the organization, or like the increased levels of pageantry and burlesque? I know it's a big question. You could summarize it.
You know, I'm very honored and thrilled to be part of that legacy. And I'm very glad that I was there during and spent quite a bit of time there during a transitionary period. And that's a very exciting period for me. When things get codified a little bit too much, things aren't as exciting for me. And I'm thrilled at the pageantry of it all, but I don't believe in hierarchy. I'm not a queen of nothing. I'm a Miss Exotic World.
My love of it, though, and you don't need to know this opinion, but I can't help but give it.
No, we want it.
When I thought to myself, all right, so American Burlesque, you've got Las Vegas on one side, and then the yin and yang opposite of Vegas is BurlyCon, right? So it's all Diamante's show out, showgirl perfection, and then it's all furrow-browed feminist discussion at the other end, and in the middle, hey, both are great. You need both. You need one. If you're going to have one, you've got to have the other. But in the middle, for me, was the Slipper Room and New York Burlesque. And I'll just say New York Burlesque, because the New York Burlesquers, they got their own style that attracted me in a way that I love old school burlesque, Dixie Evans and all of that business. I love all that stuff. But now the neo stuff, what people are doing, I still think New York is the best place. I do. To bring out radical, politicized, overtly sexual performances.
And it's so
and of course
unapologetic.
there are other people do it. Sweet Pea in Minneapolis. I mean, you could name several people in every town now. But I'm just saying that style is personally the style I like the best.
Well, I think that there's something that happened with the legends, is that the legends, when they shared their stories with us, they shared the stories that they wanted to share with us. So there's a little bit of revisionist history that started right there. And then there became the echo chamber. So I think it got a little bit further and further away from the gritty truth and more into the created perception and the ideal. And that's really fascinating and interesting and quite beautiful to see. But we exist a little bit more where, as you said in the interview with Indigo Blue, that you got mashed potatoes on your fishnets, you know?
What a great phrase. What a great phrase. That's so evocative.
Well, there really were mashed potatoes in our fishnets.
Yeah, totally.
But that's New York. And I think that's what makes us like, we can go anywhere. We can do anything. Anything can happen. And we're going to be like, okay, that's okay. No problem. The stage collapsed. Cool. I'll just stand right in front of the rubble. Like, it's, you just kind of, it doesn't really faze us so much. And I love that about coming from here,
Mm-hmm. And, New York is the land of Andy Warhol, Experiment and Penny Arcade.
Yes.
And Blondie and performance art of the 90s and blah, blah, blah. And Vegas is Siegfried and Roy and Grant Filippo.
Yes.
And I love Grant. Grant and me got on like a house on fire. Of
course they did.
We got the tour.
I'm sure he loved you. You got the tour of the Showgirl Museum?
Uh-huh. The Raquel dress, everything.
Wow.
I was on it. But, the towns breed their own style, don't they? And Vegas is definitely its own style,
It's amazing. So now, in the future, in the time of the corona, we're all in our homes, when can I turn on my computer and see the horror movie?
October 30th.
Ooh.
Devil's Night. We're going to release it on Devil's Night.
The problem is, as is often the way with the One of Us productions, we just went with what we wanted to make without scant regard for what people will think about it. And now I'm like, this is... Let's put it this way. This film, if you're into your horror, listeners, this film is from the Saw Hostel school of horror. Sam Peckinpah and then nasty, gruesome shit. There's nothing fucking psychological and clever in this.
There's nothing psychological.
This is gore.
It's straight on.
And it's sexual violence as well. Against a man, not a woman, but it's still that. And then we're like,
disabled, I'm like, why?
Oh, fuck. We're like, are people going to be offended by this?
Why is she sexually assaulting that poor disabled man? That's what we're afraid that people are going to say.
But then we decided not to pay any reference to my disability because we decided that disabled guys can be sexist assholes as well, after all. And that's what I was playing. So there was no need to mention my arms. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm just playing a douchebag and I get punished because it's a horror film.
Yeah, I can't
so
wait to watch
on October 30th.
October, and where are you? How are you guys releasing it?
I don't know. We can't do it on YouTube because we're not allowed because there's nipples.
Yeah, like I've been editing it, and then I'm like, I wonder where are we going to release it? Let me look at the rules for this.
There's a lot of rules.
Guess we can't release it because like all of the things, the reasons why you can't do it. We're like, we've got that, we got that.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be Vimeo.
It's probably gonna be Vimeo.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
So, but I'm gonna watch that, and I can't wait. It's gonna be a good Devil's Night. And then I just read this morning when I turned on my computer and I saw Variety.com Crypt Tales.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's amazing. So this is your next big thing that's happening.
We did that last year. I got approached by Debbie Christie, a producer at BBC Studios. They had previously done a series of monologues about the gay experience and about women's history experience. And now they wanted to do disability. And would I head and curate the project? And I was fucking delighted. I must say, after 25 years in this business, with that angle on it, I was probably a good person to do because I knew a lot of the people. But I was able to cast 6 disabled actors, 6 disabled writers, and 3 disabled directors, all on mainstream TV,
amazing,
unheard of, and they're all. I'm really proud of all of the monologues. I took one for myself because I'm not stupid.
You better.
So I've written one. I'm acting in one, and I'm psyched and excited about the fact that Variety have picked it up, and that. I'll tell you this: what seems to have happened in the 9 months of COVID is that disability seems to have been upgraded to almost be an equal diversity to all the other things. And suddenly we are included in diversity conversations where, frankly, Angie, quite frustratingly beforehand, we were not.
Yeah.
And now we are. And I'm celebrating that because suddenly everybody wants to know about the Crypt Tales monologues. And I'm like, yes! Timing!
I think that's a lot to do with Obama's Crypt Camp.
Oh, my God. Well,
Have you seen Crypt Camp?
Yes. I remember that. Yeah.
That's the documentary, which was the first output by Michelle Obama's new film company about, so the word crip is back in fashion thanks to that film. And I've always used it as a reclaimed word. It's our N word, if you like. And I'm super thrilled and happy. But the only thing I really hope from all of this is that every individual that's involved in it gets another job from it. You know.
No, that's
That'd be
amazing.
the real mark of success. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so this, does it premiere on October 1st? Is that right? Like it starts.
Yeah, it's going to premiere on BBC America, AMC, and a couple of other channels because it's National Disability Employment Month.
Yes.
In October. It's going to be free on a platform that you don't have to sign up for that month. So you can see all 6 monologues for free for the whole month of October. You just have to follow the details and click the thing.
Then we're going to ruin it
We're
on
going to ruin it with the whole thing.
with Party Doll.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I've got to navigate that one carefully because there are times when my manager, who fully knows what I've done, my acting manager in LA, he's like, yeah, the stuff at the box that you used to do, you know, we can say that you did that, but you don't do it anymore. I'm like, yeah, whatever you want. You know,
Although,
but I really do right. I've always been a believer in asking for forgiveness, not permission, because Julie taught me that one. And I'm just going to keep riding that until the shit hits the fan.
Absolutely.
although I think American Trilogy, our number is on a porno website somewhere.
It is?
Yes, because someone said, I was surfing porn and then I saw your act. We were like,
Well, listen, when you guys like are big and famous and that's going to be like the leaked tape, listen, that's only a career booster.
yeah, I agree.
You know?
Yeah. We were actually thinking of making a porno and then holding on to it for 25 years or 20 years and then releasing it.
Yeah, that's smart.
How cool would it be if like Michael Douglas went, oh, by the way, the night me and Catherine met, we made a porno. Want to see it? We'd be like, yes! We want to see that.
We have lots of pornos.
Well, yeah, every married couple does, don't they?
But you got to make that one. I'm into it. You guys
Yeah.
have so many good ideas.
Do you think Brian would do the soundtrack?
Yes, absolutely. He totally will. He definitely will. That's his new thing. I'm making him do the soundtrack for everything. He did it for Burlesque Galaxy. He did it for the podcast. I'm like, hey, babe, he'll totally do it.
Good.
Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you for
You,
thinking
Angie.
of us, Angie. It's so kind
Yeah.
of
Are
you.
you
kidding me?
You're so
Please.
awesome.
You're amazing.
We're touched.
Please, this is going to be a good one. I can't wait. I loved this chat. It's not too often you meet another fully entrenched showbiz couple, and I had an absolute blast with Julie and Matt. I am getting an asshole bell. Follow them on all their epic journeys on Twitter, because you know you want to find out when that Party Doll horror film is coming out on Vimeo, which is going to be its vessel for its premiere. So give them a follow on Twitter at Julie_Atlas_Muse and at Matt_Fraser. And that is 1 T on that, Matt. And also, check out thepantoproject.com, where you can find out about the amazing pantomime works that they are bringing to New York City. You know where you can find me, at Angie Pontani, virtually everywhere. And I'll see you next week on The Bump and Grind. And don't forget, leave a review, follow us, and shimmy on back here next week.
This has been a Giant Panda King production. You can find us at giantpandaking.com and on Instagram at giantpandaking.